Hey Stampers, welcome to Brandy's Cards. So today I've got a fun card for you with the Lotus Blossom. Now, so many of my customers have purchased the Lotus Blossom and everybody has been so excited about the beautiful images that it produces. And so the Lotus Blossom is actually in our Stampin' Up! Celebration catalog. The Celebration catalog is fantastic. It goes through, I believe, March 31st. We are all so excited about Celebration. For every $50 you spend, you get to pick a free item out of the Celebration catalog. And the offerings are fantastic. There's blendabilities in there. There's some designer series papers and different things. And of course, some fabulous stamp sets and Project Life. So if you don't have a Celebration catalog, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to drop one in the mail to you, or if you have any questions about it. Of course, our spring catalog is also available. It's this beautiful catalog. It is it's full of great ideas, lots of inspiration. So let me know if you would like one of those. But again, today, our stamp set that we're going to feature today is the Lotus Blossom. So take a look at our card. Oh, it's so pretty. I love the flower and I love the background. And I'll show you exactly how I did the fun leaf there as well. Now, I've seen lots and lots of cards using the Lotus Blossom, and a lot of folks, it seems like, are using the same color. So I thought, well, now how can we switch up some of those colors and maybe add a little bit more depth, or maybe just a little bit more vibrant color? So today I have Mossy Meadow, Daffodil Delight, Tangelo Twist, and I have Calypso Coral. All right, and the other featured stamp set for that fabulous background is the Build a Bouquet stamp set. So take a look here. It's got a lot of fun little images in here, the butterfly and the flower. But what we're going to use today is this great wood grain type look. I just think it's fantastic. And you know, I do want to point out one quick thing to you guys. I'm going to open up my spring catalog real quick, and I am going to find this stamp set. And the reason it's on page 29. The reason is if you take a look right here, you'll notice that on the left side of the page here, the Oh Happy Day and the butterfly, that is the actual size of the image. But then you look to the right side and you see that this wood grain, it's only shown at 50%. So these in this square are only shown at 50%. Here is the actual stamp, and it's obviously much bigger. So, you know, in the past, we've shown our images to actual size. And so to save some room so we could add more stamps and more projects, they've kind of done it a little different. So don't let that trip you up. All right, so today's card, I've got Mossy Meadow here in front of me. We're going to go ahead and fold this in half. And if you'd like the sizes and the dimensions, they'll be on brandyscards.com. So all you got to do is visit my website, brandyscards.com. In the right-hand corner in the search bar, type in there Lotus Blossom. You can also type in there Build a Bouquet or Celebration. And this project should come up. And all else fails, you'll see a green tab right there. Click on that green tab, the question tab, and send me an email and I'll send you a link. No problem there. So I've got Mossy Meadow. I'm going to ink up my wood grain stamp. Here we go. We're just going to get it nice and inked up. And this is a photopolymer stamp that I have here. Now underneath my scrap paper is a piercing mat. It's just easier to stamp with photopolymer. Then of course I have some scrap paper. I have folded my Mossy Meadow in half. And now basically all I'm going to do is stamp straight down. And I am going to go straight up, but what I'm going to do is just kind of give this a good push all over the place because it is a bigger stamp and I want to try to get, you know, as much coverage as I can. So just kind of be patient with it and just kind of give it a few good pushes. Then you pull it up and there it is. Looks fantastic. But then you guys are like, well, what happened to the other side? Well, this stamp isn't quite as big as maybe our wood grain background stamp. So you know what? This is photopolymer. So let's just ink this baby up again and just stamp it on the other side. Okay, so there we go. We've got this big block. Now because it is photopolymer, you can kind of see exactly where you stamped before. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't much mind it overlapping. But if you do, just kind of be mindful of where you're stamping. And again, some more good pushes on here. Push it up real good. Oh, wow, that looks really good. So I'm going to set this aside. There you have it. So there we go. So we are on our way. I'm going to set this aside for just a second. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start with our Lotus Blossom. Now again, I've seen a lot of great cards, and you know, this is a three-step process. You'll see that we have 3 different stamps here. And so a lot of times in the past, we would start with the stamp that had the most, I would say, rubber or space that would stamp. But we're going to actually start with the detailed stamp first. So I just think that is super cool. So we've got step 1, 2, and 3, and I'm going to show you exactly how that goes. And you'll also see it right here on the Lotus Blossom stamp on the actual case. Now the cool thing is you'll notice these little arrows. So what I did is I mounted all of my stamps so that those arrows were facing up. That way I knew the placement. And then of course, once you stamp your the detailed image and you can see that arrow, well then the rest of them fall into place pretty easily. Trust me on that, it works beautifully. Okay, before I do that though, let's go ahead. I'm going to pull over my card, and you guys know how much I like to tear paper, right? So what we're going to do is, because I don't really have the actual sizes that I just wanted this to land at a certain size. So I cut my Daffodil Delight a little bit bigger. And all I'm going to do is just kind of eye it. The first one I can just go ahead and rip or tear. And I'm going to tear it towards myself, because I like to tear it towards myself because I like that kind of that rough type of look. Okay. And then I like to kind of bend those sides up, make it look nice and rough. And then I basically put it right next to the other card, and I can see, okay, right about there is where I would like to tear the other piece. All right, so once we get this torn, then we have our base. This is what we're gonna pop up off of our Mossy Meadow cardstock. Now I've got a piece of Whisper White here. So this is Daffodil Delight, here's Whisper White. I'm just gonna go ahead and tear my Whisper White on the left-hand side, and then what I'll do is I will kind of measure it against my yellow or my Daffodil Delight and kind of figure out exactly where it needs to be torn. So I'm going to layer it here on top, and then I can see, okay, right about there is probably where it needs to be torn. So then I'm just going to use my fingers and guide it all the way down. And there you have it. And then I'll just kind of ruffle those edges because I love that kind of fun, ruffly, that rough edge look. And there we go. So now let's go ahead and let's stamp our flower. So first off, I have the stem, and I've got both of my stems actually mounted on this one piece. I didn't mind that, but it's entirely up to you what you might like to do. And let's go ahead and bring our piercing mat in, because again, it does stamp just a little bit nicer with your piercing mat. Make sure you keep your scrap paper here to the side, because we're going to use our scrap paper as well. We're going to do some stamping off and then stamping on for color variation. So I'm going to take the first part of my stem. This one has the most like grooves in it. And I'm going to ink that up in Mossy Meadow. And then I'm going to stamp it kind of off to a diagonal, straight down, straight up. Perfect. Then I'm going to take my other stem, and this stem it's got more of the flat space, more of the rubber space. I'm actually going to stamp it off, and I'm going to stamp it off twice. And then I'm going to come over here, and because it's photopolymer, I can actually line it up right over the top. See, isn't that beautiful? And it kind of gives it some depth or some dimension. I really liked that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to start with our Lotus Blossom. So here is step 1. Step 1 is going to be Calypso Coral. And we're going to take it, and again, we're going to line our arrow up straight at the top, stamp it straight down, straight up. So there you can see we have our Calypso Coral. Now what we're going to do is we are going to go on to our Tangelo Twist, I believe, right? Yes, Tangelo Twist. We're going to ink up our second Lotus Blossom stamp. The arrow is facing up, so that's good. Then what we're going to do is we're going to stamp it on our scrap paper, stamp it off. And then we're going to come over here, and our arrow is up to the top. And then we're going to line up our 2 points and stamp it straight down and straight up. So as you can see, this image is coming along beautifully, and that right there is just as pretty, right? But I wanted to add a pop of yellow and kind of make it, kind of a wild type flower. So I just inked it up, the third stamp, in Daffodil Delight. I'm going to stamp it off, and now I'm going to come back over here, and I'm going to line the arrow back up towards the top. We'll line our points up of our flower, and we'll stamp it straight down and straight up. Wow, check that out. Is that not beautiful? That was 3 steps. Super easy, and you make this gorgeous image that's got so much depth to it. So inside, you know, one thing about the stamp is, you know, as I was looking at it, it doesn't have any leaves, and I thought, gosh, I want a leaf so bad on this stamp. So I went over to my Build-A-Bouquet again, and there was this fun little wispy leaf in there. So I mounted him. That's right, I did. And I thought it was really pretty to kind of have it wisp off to the right. And then I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna stamp it a second time to kind of stay along with, you know, along the idea of, you know, a little bit of dimension and that sort of thing. And then I'm gonna stamp it again off to the left. I just turned the leaf upward and stamp it a second time. Let me show you this. See, isn't that fun? It just really kind of finishes the flower, and I thought it turned out beautiful. And then the stamp, the sentiment that I chose today is the kindness you show has no end, which I thought was a beautiful sentiment. So here we go. I'm going to ink that up in my Mossy Meadow, and I'm going to stamp that right here. And I kind of liked it right underneath my leaf. Perfect. Right underneath my leaf, kind of going off to the side. So that's it. That is just, oh my gosh, I just love this image. So I have some Tombow glue here. We're going to go ahead and glue this piece down to our Daffodil Delight that we tore to match. There we go. So we tore this piece to match, just like that. All right. So now what I would do is I'll grab some Stampin' Dimensionals, flip that over, and I'm just going to put 4 Stampin' Dimensionals. I might put 5, one there in the center as well for good measure. And we're going to stick this on top of our card. Now keep in mind, you could embellish an envelope if you wanted to. You could even do the inside of your card. There we go. Oh my goodness, isn't that gorgeous? Well, let's go ahead and at least do the, let's just put the inside of our card here inside. And again, you could actually stamp this flower on the inside too. It would be absolutely beautiful. And you can also do the envelope. But today, I think we're just going to stick with the card. I just think it's absolutely beautiful. Great stationery. Beautiful, beautiful stationery. There's really not, I mean, the flower is so stunning itself. I don't think you need a whole lot more. And gosh, I hope that you enjoyed today's project. I hope that you, if you have the Lotus Blossom, that you give it a try. And if you don't, I'm sure you have a flower stamp inside of your in your craft room or in your crafting space that maybe you can pull out and play with some colors. Stamp them, you know, stamp in various blue shades or maybe purples or maybe oranges and yellows. So just have some fun. Color is beautiful, and it's spring, and we're also excited about that. So I appreciate you guys stopping by, and I hope that y'all have a blessed day.